Good evening, folks. Welcome to Porsche Cup Challenge Euro Global Division. We're here at, I think that you say this, Rudskogen. Adam Morrow is joining me in the broadcaster booth. Always love having you, buddy. How you doing over there?
Doing well, Mike. Thanks. I hope you're doing as well. I think Rudd Scogan. I think you got it there. Don't be confused with an IKEA couch or something like that. But I think we're in the line with how to pronounce it. Should be a good one.
IKEA couch. I think that's from the same country, but also I don't think so.
I don't know. I think this track's in Norway, right? I think I was reading up. It's been inception in 1990,
Starting
so
again. I'll
30
find like the
years or
third.
so. So a fairly new track, but pretty picturesque, I would imagine, in Norway, tucked in the hills like this.
Yeah, definitely, definitely a beautiful, beautiful track. Driven this one myself many laps, and it's definitely has like a little bit of a hypnotic, kind of cathartic feel to it when you really start getting into the corners and you just start nailing the corners. It feels peaceful. It's actually very quite nice. Have you had a chance to drive this one yet, Adam?
I haven't, unfortunately. I was meaning to cut some laps. I got to watch the Thursday race, which was a great drive by yourself there and others, but I was pretty pumped on how you turned out there. A podium was always good. And I saw a couple of your lines were pretty unique. And I think that's maybe why you had a little bit of speed or catch those Horvath and I think Peterson up front. So um, it's one of those tracks, it's hard to really pick out where the guy's faster, but man, they're littered with corners, and corners win races.
Yeah, I'm not sure if my lines, unconfirmed, if if those lines were actually worthwhile or not. I could have been losing time, could have been gaining time. Have no idea. Don't know if I'm fast enough to exactly compare or not to the really fast guys, but I don't know, trying what I thought would work, and yeah, I went with it. One on that note, there's a giant discussion in some of the discords about brake bias and how it can be used for or against you. I was actually noticing myself, I cranked the brake bias forward to 5.99, and I change how I brake and steer, and what ends up happening is I actually put some heat into those front tires, and it takes away from my understeer. It's been working for me. I know that some people, some of our friends here have tried that, and it just absolutely did not work. It made it worse. So it's definitely it needs a personal touch, I guess, and it's just a personal choice of where to set that. But it's definitely an interesting start, an interesting discussion of how exactly do you set the brake bias in this car to make the car do what you want.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things too. We're all in this league together, and it's a fixed league, fixed setup. So the one thing you can change is the brake bias. So yeah, maybe Mike, some of those guys are ignoring it or saying no, no, that isn't. But in the back of their minds, when they're cutting laps, they're doing the same thing. They just don't want to give some of their secrets away. But who knows? It's a competitive field, and we need those advantages where we could get them. But I'm not far off. I go 2 clicks to the front right off the bat, and then depending on how it feels, I'll bring that to the back. But
And there goes the broadcaster curse, our very, for the very first time in our
there
race
it goes.
today to Misha Berger. Sorry, buddy.
Better now than in the sprint or in the feature. So hopefully he got it out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Take it now while you still it doesn't hurt your race.
Mm.
Now this track is definitely very technical. It's really hard to throw around such a heavy car on this track, and we're seeing that in our qualifying results. Such a huge mix from our pro to amateur drivers. Philip the Hammer up in our pole position. We expected that. But if you look at the rest of our qualifying results, it's quite a white green white green kind of appearance, and that's not common in our races. So that's just showing the true difficulty that most people are having with this track.
Yeah, good
So
call. Yeah, those corners seem tricky to find the apex on. So yeah, Phil Hammer at the top of the board. Might as well just copy and paste that, run that out till the end of the season.
Here we go with our qualifying results. We've got Philip the Hammer. Congratulations for that pole position. Amir Carr up in second position off qualifying. Misha Berger, Lee Holmes, Thorsten Seifert, Ryan Winfeld, Emil Koopmans, Benjamin Pape, Rob West, Danny Hugendorn, Bjorn Ritter, Yuri Steinmetz, Frank Smits, Benji Pedersen, Alexander Wilford, Philip Straffarelli, Glenn Humberstone, Samuel K. Spruill, and Adam, take it away for the remaining mount.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. It's cool to see Winfield and West, the Americans, Randy Ert, looks like a new guy there too, and our fellow Canadian Straffarelli represented for the North American guys in there. But after Spruill, we got Koopmans, Pape, West, Hugendorn, Ritschow, Steinmetz, Smits, Peterson, Alexander Wilford, one of our top amateurs there, Straffarelli, like I said, Humberstone, Olive Prodrocky, Edhurt, Schill, Redhead, and Hatcher. So some familiar names in there. I screwed up the lineup there. Couldn't find Spruill, but overlap. But there you have it.
That's fine. You know what? We have fun with our mistakes. Why not? They're gonna happen anyways, and you just gotta laugh at yourself, right?
Totally. And some mistakes are just too fun to make once.
I like that one. I like that. That's grand. So we're now just waiting for all the drivers to come back from their little pep talk that they like to give themselves. They're about to get into the car and get ready to hit that gas pedal and launch off the line as those lights go off. We just have a few more seconds. It looks like Ben G. Pedersen is the only driver remaining. I am not sure. He looks like he's choosing to start in the pits. And here you go. We've now got the lights up in the middle of the screen. All the lights are up and lights are off, and away we go. Everyone's gotten a real great start, and off to the races we go. Everyone away nice and clean this time. No wheel spin, nothing crazy. Oh, and here we go through turn one, and everyone cleanly nice and 3 wide, now filtering out into 2 wide. And it looks like Amir Carr is actually taking advantage of a mistake from Philip the Hammer. This is absolutely not common. So Philip the Hammer is now in second place with Lee Holmes in third as they head into turn 3, turn 4 turn sequence. And here we go. It looks like Philip the Hammer may have had to serve a slowdown.
Ouch. Hey, Euro guys, great job getting through that first few corners there. The last 4 rounds looked like a bomb went off, so they're getting it figured out. Great to see.
Absolutely. And the cold tire lap, so crucial. Oh, and there goes Yuri Steinmetz, has crashed. I'm going to just take a real quick peek at exactly how did that one happen. Here's Yuri Steinmetz right here. Oh, a whole bunch of elbows out, and Yuri Steinmetz and just a little bit of a spin. And that is unfortunate, but his car looks okay.
Nice, got out of the way, didn't collect anyone. Nice move.
That is absolutely phenomenal car control to spin, lose it, spin, and not take anyone with you. Absolutely love that. Here we go, end of lap 1. Amir Carr is now in the lead of the race. Philip Hammer in second place. This track being really, really hard to pass. It's going to be a very interesting end. And you know what? This is a track of slowdowns. That is one thing we haven't mentioned quite yet, is one little misstep and you're collecting a slowdown, and you're going to be serving a heavy slowdown. Some of these slowdowns are... So there you go, right there. Rob West collecting a slowdown, and it's a 3-second slowdown. Now Rob's just lost. He's now down 9 positions off of one slowdown. Is it going to be 10? No. Mark Oliver not able to take advantage. Oh, and it looks like he is. Rob West still has more time to bleed off, and so Rob West off that one slowdown, then down 10 positions. Wow, that's absolutely brutal.
That is rough, and it's such a stressful situation. You're trying to burn down that clock and minimize how many people get by you. Jeez, that's just punishing. I didn't know that about this track.
Yeah, there's a lot of slowdowns, and it'll bite you, I gotta say. Here we go, Thorsten Seifert getting passed by Benjamin Pape. Benjamin is up 3 positions. That is an incredible drive already in the first 2 laps to be up 2 positions. They, they don't have a lot of passing opportunities. You can see it's a massive DRS train right here. So it's going to be a tight battle all the way to the very, very end. Oh, and it looks like Ryan Winfeld off of that may have a slowdown to serve. He took a lot of curb, and I'm going to be very surprised if he doesn't have a slowdown off of that. So we're going to have to follow along and see. And meanwhile, in the background, there's Emil Koopmans and Danny Hugendorn really fighting it out to try and figure out who can get ahead. It looks like Ryan Winfeld, he's still keeping up his pace, so he may not have a slowdown, so he got lucky.
Nice, yeah. So maybe this track will favor the guys that don't get a whole lot of. Oh, who do we got going off there? Is that Richo? Oh,
that would be Emil Koopmans. Emil Koopmans has spun. Oh, and that's unfortunate. I want to take a look. I want to take a real quick look at the lead of the race here with Amir Carr, Philip Hammer, Lee Holmes, and Misha Berger just creeping in the background. This 4-car pack has crept away from the rest of the field. Absolutely crept away. Benjamin Pape is 2 seconds back, so that is just showing the absolute blazing pace these 4 drivers have. And Philip Hammer is getting closer and closer than ever. He really wants to take first position back. Is he going to make the move right here? He's going to go too wide into turn 1. Both of these cars are going to have to avoid the slowdown. Philip the Hammer on the outside, not able to make it work, and he is still stuck in second place. Exiting turn 1, turn 2. And is Philip the Hammer able to get some overlap coming down the hill? I don't think so. This is definitely not a place to pass. I'm really curious to see how Philip the Hammer is going to make this happen.
Yeah, where were some hot passing points? It looked like a couple guys on Thursday had a good run into turn 3 and turn 4 to make something happen, but it seems like they got pinched coming out.
I would have to say right near the end of the lap, and I'll point it out when we get there, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Oh, and here is Yuri Steinmetz with a little bit of a banged up car, making some positions up. Randy Arett. Randy Arett. Please correct me if I'm saying that one wrong.
I think that's top in French, but it looks about right.
And here we go. It looks like Amir Carr made a little bit of a mistake, and I'm going to take a quick look at that replay of exactly how did that happen. And here we go. It looks like Philip the Hammer is through. So here we go into that heavy braking zone down the hill, and that allowed Lee Holm right on through as well.
One little mistake blowing that corner coming the outside, and none of that drive coming back up that hill, and got gobbled up by 2. Now that's not what you want to see, is Hammer out in front.
Yeah, when he's out in front, he's just going to run away with it. It's almost unfair. But there goes Philip the Hammer. Now already a 1 second gap. Oh, and there is another slowdown being served, it looks like, by Philip Straffarelli. I'm going to have to guess that was a slowdown being served. And going out wide, he is going to have another slowdown to serve off of that. Every bit of track, if you cut the track in all these places, these S's that we're going through right now, this left corner, all of these places, if you cut that track, you will be serving a slowdown. Anywhere from 1.5 to 3 full seconds that you're going to have to give up. It's quite a challenge. You'll see once you start driving the track, it's almost painful. Adam, I don't know if you are still there.
No, I'm still here. I think I just got cut off there. Sorry about that, guys.
Perfect. Glad to have you back already. So I'm going to just go right to the battle. Oh, it looks like Wilford's making a pass. Here is Wilford and Frank Smits. Frank Smits is still ahead. It looks like they were overlapping at one point, and they are overlapping no more. So Wilford trying to make a pass, and or it could have been, actually, that was... Yeah, it was Wilford trying to make a pass and not able to make it happen.
Do you find this track looks like, to me, looking at the corners and stuff, it looks like I'd have a hard time staying loose. Like I think I'd feel really tight and confined, and probably grip the wheel tighter than I need to. Did you find that, or is it pretty free flowing?
You know what? Once you start figuring out how to throw the car around all these corners, you do end up a lot more balanced on your steering wheel. It's not as tight gripped, and you sort of you get into a trance, and it's quite a great experience. And it looks like, is that Rob West? Yeah, Rob West making a pass on Glenn Humberstone. After serving all that time in his slowdown, let's just take a look at, here's one example of how to make a pass. And oh yeah, you know what? Glenn having to serve his slowdown is what allowed Rob West to break on through.
Ouch, those slowdowns catching them, eh?
Yep, absolutely difficult. So right here, one passing zone that you have, Rob West right here going through the final corner, you can see how he goes out wide off of that curb. And if a car is really, really close, that very moment that a car goes off of that curb, you poke your nose in, and now you got a too wide situation going around that final corner for the last half of it, and you got too wide into the turn one, and there's your chance to make a pass. It's actually the best way to make that pass, and almost every driver actually leaves that space open.
Nice, nice.
So there's your little hint of the day.
Sweet, yeah. Looks like Sam Sproul. He's up 9 spots. He's chipping his way through the field. Nice run by our fellow Canadian there, Straffarelli, just outside the top 10. Good to see. Man, our amateur driver Lee Holmes. That's 2 rounds in a row, giving these pros some heartburn. Berger as well.
Yeah, yeah. Lee Holmes having a real great race up in P2. He's got Amir Khan and Misha Berger behind. I'm really gonna be interested in see those cars making that gap on the inside, so they're gonna have to be careful if they have a car directly behind them. Fortunately, nobody behind close enough to fill that space, but yeah, driver beware. Definitely the best place to make a pass. Oh, and there's Yuri Steinmetz trying to make a pass on Glenn Humberstone, going around the outside around that last turn, of course making that dive up the inside in that quick left, and just not able to make it happen.
Like tricky corner. I saw you had a hot line through there, Mike, on Thursday. You're gobbling up some time. It's like everyone would stay kind of symmetrical tight to the inside, but you were kind of taking an asymmetrical and getting great drive down that back straight.
Yeah, it definitely works. Here was Bjorn Ritter serving a slowdown, and that allowed Sam Sproul to make his way on through. And it's just, it's just showing that this track is really about staying safe and staying on the track, because you know what? Those slowdowns will rob you of a lot of positions in that first lap. If you can avoid first 3 laps, if you can avoid those slowdowns, you're gonna do well, because that's when all the cars are still very close together, and you're going to lose a lot of positions serving a 3-second slowdown. That can be, as we saw earlier, 10 spots. Rob West still trying to claw back all those spots he lost, and he now has Glenn Humberstone and Yuri Steinmetz on his tail. So don't look too far, Rob. You may be losing more spots if you're not careful, or even encourage some more slowdowns.
Get those lines sorted out for the future, because doesn't look like he's going to make that top 8. Looks like Sam Sproul's into that top 8 there, so he's going to have a sweet start. Winfield's hanging on in there for 7th in that top 8 for the reverse grid for the future. Good spot to be.
Here is Danny Hugendorn. He is in P10, leading this pack of Philip Straffarelli and Frank Smits. So these guys are, I want to pull up real quick, how far back are they from the leader after this 15-minute race? You can see exactly how far back they are. So Lee Holmes is obviously 5 seconds, and then Danny Hugendorn in P10 is 16 seconds back. So that is quite an incredible gap and quite an incredible pace. Just behind, we got Philip Straffarelli and Frank Smits battling it out. Frank Smits is going to throw that defensive line as he heads down into this braking zone, going wide, and there is Frank Smits up the inside, and there goes Frank Smits making a pass pass on Philip Straffarelli. And so Frank Smits is now up 2 positions. Philip Straffarelli up 4 total instead of 5, and down into 12th spot.
Nice move. I hope Straffarelli can hang in there and find some lines and put it together in the future.
Here we go. I'm going to go through some quickie replays. Here is Yuri Steinmetz making the pass on Glenn Humberstone finally. Here is Alexander Redhead passing Craig Schill. Oh, it looks like Craig may have had a slowdown. Yep, there you go. That's the more of that slowdown. You know, that slowdown is absolutely everything for every single corner on every single lap. Going through these S's, once again, you can get a slowdown. I'm going to take a little bit of a different camera angle. Even this quick left right here, you can get a slowdown. It's on half of these corners. You've got slowdown opportunities or chances, and you can be really aggressive on that driver in front and hopefully make him make that mistake. It's a really great way to make a pass.
Nice. I love that. I think that's turn 10. Yeah, is that turn 10 they're hitting right there? That downhill break and then back on the gas up. Looks like a lot of fun to do.
Let me see, turn 10. That downhill is turn 10. That is. And it's quite interesting because as you brake, there's that massive gap on the inside. You can see the cars going wide, trying to get a better exit. Leaves them wide open for anyone who's willing to go for it, and it works. But that downhill braking zone that we're going to see the drivers get back to eventually as they complete or go on to their final lap. It's real great braking zone. The compression of that car allows you to go even harder on the brakes, take advantage of that, the weight slamming down into the ground, and it's really exciting the way that you're able to pitch that car into the corner. It's great, I gotta say.
Yeah, it looks like a fun corner, but is it easy to get locked up coming down that?
It is after you've begun your turn in, but while you're on the brakes, it's really difficult, to be honest.
Nice. Bummed I missed this track. Looks like a pretty technical one. Not too high speeds in some sections. Those typically work in my favor. I'm old, so when stuff comes at me fast, it doesn't work too well. It needs to be slow speeds.
So you just saw the leader of our race, Philip Hammer, is going to be going across that start-finish line. Right there in the background, you could see this little faint glimpse of his car, and we'll look at right here. Here we go. Philip the Hammer coming across our start-finish line as the winner of this first sprint race. Congratulations, Philip Hammer. Lee Holmes coming across in second position, holding on, making that pass on Amir Carr from that slowdown he had to serve. And here's Misha Berger in fourth. This is Benjamin Pape and Thorsten Seifer with Ryan Winfeld in this pack right here. This is Samuel K. Spruill coming across in 8th. Bjorn Ritter, Danny Hugendorf, Frank Smits, Philip Straffarelli, Alexander Wilford, Thomas Podprocki, Rob West, right there in the bottom right corner. Here is Glenn Humberstone. Yuri Steinmetz looks like he had to give back a position, and so he is now behind Glenn Humberstone. Randy Aret is going across the finish line now. Here is Craig Schill, who had a really great race result last week, and it looks like he's wishing they were back at Silverstone. Sorry, buddy, we're in Norway right now. And here is one of his teammates, Alistair Hatcher, who's not having the best of luck either. Slowdowns and all of the such. Mark Oliver not too far behind. And then Alexander Redhead. I'm loving the little emblems you've got on your car on the wing. Absolutely love it. Great job. Yeah, and where's Mark Oliver going?
Oh,
this is going to be interesting.
What the heck?
Maybe he had a slowdown or something to serve. We have no idea. He's going to be at the very back of the grid starting our feature race. Yeah, not sure what happened there. I'm very unfortunate, of course. But hey, it happened. That's racing. Sometimes that's how it goes, right? Yep. Anyways, here we go. Just pulling up our our sprint heat race results. Philip the Hammer, 8.4 seconds ahead. Wow.
Jeez. And I think his fastest lap was the last lap. So way to shank these guys in the back there, Hammer.
So Adam, what would you say are your top three key points for this next feature race?
Top just picking up what I haven't had the chance to race it. So for the Euro guys, I'm still going to drive those starts. I think they got off the line well in that sprint. Let's see another one on those feature. To your point, coming out of those corners, getting on your braking points, making sure you hit those, and making sure that you don't get those slowdowns. I mean, that looks punishing out there for the guys. And then watch out for this inverse grid. Sproul, Winfield, Seifert, all very mature drivers that are going to be starting at the front of the grid. Let's see how the rest of the field, if they could get by them, especially all eyes on Hammer, how he gets through the field, because those top 3, top 4 in that reverse grid, they know what's going on out there. They know their pace and they know Phil's. Let's see how they get through.
Definitely. I think that avoiding slowdowns in those first 3 to 5 laps are going to be the most important factors for a good race for all of these drivers, from the very front to the very back. And I just actually want to pull up our qualifying results from qualifying, obviously, and we can see so 121.1 was our pole position. On Thursday, as a comparison, our pole position was 121.8. So that is just to show the absolute pace that these guys have. Second position, of course, was a 122.0, which is approximately what our Thursday races were in. I'm going to now pull that down. Our slowest lap in qualifying on Thursday was 125.7 area, and our 124s and 125s were very much commonly found here in our race today. So it's just a really good comparison that at the very, very front of the field, there's definitely a little bit more pace, but through the remainder of the field, yes, it is a strong field on our Sunday races, but it's not absolutely absurdly faster overall is what we're seeing.
Yeah, and I forgot, like me, I try not to get too hung up on the fastest lap, because, well, I can't get there. But it might be interesting to see the overall times, how long it took for the guys to finish the race, the total elapsed time for the race, and compare those back to back. So I like that idea, Mike. That's a really cool comparison to see.
Yeah, we got our 23 Celsius track temperature just for quickie looks. And here we go. The lights are up in the middle of the screen, and we're about to get off into our feature race. Lights are up, lights are off, and away we go. Everyone's gotten a really great start. No crazy spins in the background. Oh, it looks like Alexander Redhead may have had a crazy spin, but other than that, everyone else has gotten away super cleanly. And here we go, everyone going through turn 1, nice and easy. Samuel K. Sproul is in the lead. Oh, and Emil Koopmans. Where is Emil Koopmans? He is just absolutely out of the race, it looks like.
Bummer.
Absolute bummer.
Jeez, that didn't take long. Yeah.
That really didn't take long. And here we go. Philip the Hammer is up already into 6th position. So,
wow.
You know what? He's already found a solution to a very difficult to pass track. And as they head through the S's, this corner on cold tires is absolutely treacherous. It's a real wonder how some of these drivers get through as quick as they do. All these drivers going through nice and cleanly, as we can see right there. Definitely difficult on cold tires. You go about half a second slower, to be honest, and it's not easy. Samuel K. Sproul is in P1 of this reverse grid race, and Samuel K. Sproul, one very competent driver. Here we go, too wide. Rob West going too wide. Oh, and who's that? That looks like a spinner. Ben G. Pedersen spun, and that's
Humberstone too.
I am not sure. Let's take a look.
Oh, man, great driving, guys. That first lap was beauty. A couple bad ones, but still overall.
Oh, it looks like both of them. It was Tokyo drift in unison. Synchronized drifting.
Nice. I'll give that an 8 out of 10 there, lads.
Synchronized drifting. It looked like one car did, the other guy did too, and you know what? That's a very common corner, especially on these cold tires, to spin. It's not easy. I see Mark Oliver has crashed. Let's take a quick look while we still can. What happened to Mark Oliver? Mark Oliver looks like his car was already beat up pretty bad. I think he was involved. And there he went. I didn't want to watch. That was too painful. I want to say.
Enough is enough. Man, Sam Sproul doing everything he needs to do, get a good start and get out in front, pull up a gap. Winfield trying to latch on too, but man, Sproul's on fire right now.
And there we saw live action. Yuri Steinmetz way further back than we expected to see him. But Alexander Redhead, I think that was, making us... Was that Alexander Redhead? No, it wasn't. It was someone anyways. Someone in the very back was spinning, and yeah. Where is...
Yeah,
oh, no, it was Randy. It was Randy.
Yeah? Okay.
Here's Yuri Steinmetz is really struggling on this track. For the meantime, I'm actually going to jump right up to the very front of our race. Samuel K. Sproul's now made a gap of 1.8 seconds to second position of Ryan Winfeld. Everyone holding on very, very well to their positions, all except, it looks like, Thorsten Seifert, who's down one. None of these drivers appear to have served any slowdowns quite yet, so this has been really, really intense.
Shaping up to be a really great race. These guys keep locked in like this, let the dust settle in, really warm up. We're only 3 minutes in, tons of racing to go, and just a train of top tier drivers there in that top 8, top 9. Hugendorn, don't leave him out too. He's a fighter. He's going to keep pushing all the way to the end.
And there we saw Amir Carr making up a position on Thorsten Seifert. So Amir Carr is up 2 spots. Thorsten Seifert is down 2, and passing through the S's was his method of choice for making that nice position. So that is one of the more difficult ways to pass, definitely. But Amir Carr making it happen, making it work. He is now up in the 4th spot with Thorsten Seifert behind and Philip the Hammer behind. Well, I'm really curious if Thorsten is going to give it up easy or not. Usually, I gotta say, Thorsten does not give it up easy. He makes his teammate work for it. Of course, in Porsche Cup Challenge, we don't do teams, but we don't stop anyone from running team paints and feeling like they are in a team. It's actually quite nice to see everyone in these team paints. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, it adds a little bit of flavor to the league, and you go through that pecking order too. I always say you never want to go back to the pits and have your teammate beat you. That's the worst thing you want. You want to at least beat the guy on the same equipment. And kudos to Straffarelli here as well in the top 10. He's having a great drive as well. I've seen some glimmers of speed out of him at Silverstone. I think the league's been good for him catching more speed, so he's latched onto Hugendorn which is no slouch, and one of our top amateurs, Straffarelli, and gotta love him, Canadian, representing, the only guy out there.
Yeah, maybe one day you'll be able to get into these races as well. Here, we're following along with Lee Holmes, who is on the back of Alexander Wilford, and boy, are these two ever close. Is Lee Holmes going for the inside, but not able to get up alongside quite enough. Just a little bit of a fake dive, and it's thrown Alexander Wilford off. Alexander Wilford's now having to defend the inside. Is here a bit of an over-under, and there it goes, Alexander Wilford spinning off, and there you go. That is another excellent way to pass it. It looks like Thomas Podbrocki got caught up in the spinning car of Wilford and joined him off the track. And that's allowed many, many other cars to make up a lot of great positions and great points for their season standings.
Yeah, a couple guys got gifted a little bit there, but I got to hand it to Wilford. I mean, I've been watching him drive for a while now. He always puts in 100% all the time. Looks like he's got some steering damage there. But, once those guys figure those out, those little mistakes get ironed out, they're going to be a threat for the top guys in no time.
Oh, definitely. And that is actually one excellent way to pass, is just to get up alongside, be aggressive, but not too aggressive, just right. And you end up forcing that guy into a mistake, either through a slowdown or through just losing the control of their car. And it's very, very easy with all these little miniature elevation changes. And it's a super technical car control track. You almost feel like it's autocross, to be honest, if you've ever done autocross. And I gotta say, it's an absolute lovely.
But it looks like it like that, looks like a lot of fun. And there is
Philip Hammer making a pass on Thorsten Seifert, and Thorsten guarding that inside, and just a little further back, Misha Berger trying to go too wide with Frank Smits. Frank Smits, is he going to go for that inside into turn one. It looks like Frank Smits is committed. Oh, but Misha Berger throwing a little bit of a defensive line, saying, hey, don't even bother thinking about it. You're not taking the spot off of me.
Yeah, Misha's one. He could drive a wide car, can he? It's clean, and I love to see it. But he makes you work for it. No one. Smiths, you're not going to get a little freebie where the door opened a bit. Berger's going to make you work for it.
And here is how Philip the Hammer made the pass on Thorsten Seifert. Thorsten Seifert loses a little bit of control, and there we go. The open doorway for car number 60 to walk on through. And there it was. So he definitely didn't give it to him easy. But he made Philip the Hammer work for it, and he was just in the right place at the right time, and that's definitely the Hammer method.
Absolutely, yeah. Good to see Rob West back there too, chipping away. He's up 2 spots right behind Lee Holmes, keeping his championship fight alive.
Rob West. Let's go take a look at Rob West. It looks like he is on an island. He's got 2.5 seconds ahead of him, 2.8 seconds, and 4 seconds behind. So it's looking like to me most of these drivers have either spun or they're serving slowdowns. Or have served slowdowns. I know that
gap, yeah.
I know that I've seen Alex Redhead spin, Wilford spin, Pod Procky has spun, Glenn Humberstone, Randy Aret has had I see a few crashes. So these are the drivers that are having extreme difficulty on this track, this combo, of car and track. The cold tires are not an easy task. And here we go, Ben G. Penderson making a pass on Craig Schill, taking the inside line into turn one, and away he goes. He is... Oh, wait, that is Ben Pedersen's actually a lap down. So it looks like Ben Pedersen made that pass. He has the pace on Craig Schill, so he made the pass, and away he goes.
I wonder what's up with Pedersen, why he's starting back there. I don't know, maybe he had kids asking for something to eat or something, missed the start of the grid, but looks like he's out there having fun picking guys up coming from the back.
Yeah, actually, Ben, if you remember, was... Oh, and here we go, Philip the Hammer going too wide out of a hairpin and putting the pressure on a mere car. So it's any moment now we're going to either see a pass, or I guess this could just be a 2-car train. We're going to have to see. We're following along right now. Philip the Hammer trying to go around the outside and trying to get some great exit out of that. Oh, he is closer than ever. He is going to get right up alongside if Amir Carr is not careful, and he is not going to go for it. So he is going to win.
The Hammer's got such good patience on things like that, and you could tell he was right alongside Carr there, and he could have easily stayed in the middle of the track, but he didn't take any chances. He always gives the guy tons of room. He doesn't want to lose anything by contact. So if anyone's watching, man, that's the way to do. Holy smokes!
And that is a replay of Craig Schill going off the track and losing 2 positions to Alexander Redhead and Alexander Wilfer. It looks like Thomas Podprocky had also made it through that and gained a position. So Craig Schill off of that one mistake down 3 spots. So, and that's...
I think played it well not to take anyone with him, so kudos to that.
Definitely. And I think Craig Schill is in the pit now, and he may be retiring the car, maybe not, and it looks like he is out.
Ouch, yep.
And that
through our top 10 there, Straffarelli in the top 10, Hugendorn keeps hammering away, Smets up 3. Those guys are coming there. It's really, not that big of a gap.
And there's Danny Hugendorn locking up, and a little bit of a spin. That's allowed Bjorn Ritter and Philip Straffarelli to make it on through the Flying Dutchman. And so this car number 992, after one tiny mistake, is being gobbled up by all of these strong competitors that are around him. Oh, and there, look, Bjorn Ritter throwing that defensive line, trying to tell Danny, you are not getting on through, not taking this position back. I've earned it fair and square. I am staying ahead of you. And here we go. Oh, and there is Philip Straffarelli going real wide out of turn 2. And that's allowed Bjorn Ritter to gain some of his spots back. Here you go, 2 wide. This is going to be shortest distance traveled. Philip Straffarelli is now being passed by Bjorn Ritter. And that's opened the door for Danny Hugendorn to get up alongside. We're going to have 2 wide through the S's. And Danny Hugendorn backing out, thinking better of it. And now, look, we've got Lee Holmes coming in contact with all... Oh! And there is Danny Hugendorn and oh, in unison, these drivers losing control, going off into the wall, into the dirt, and that's allowed Rob West, who's been alone for much of this race, now just gaining some more positions. Wow, that is the difficulty of Rudskogen, and here you go, folks, right in front of your eyes.
That was awesome. Great scrap. Straffarelli kept his cool, kept his distance from the other drivers to avoid that. But man, they were going at it. Nice battle.
Absolutely going at
track
it
like that, though.
Definitely, and just overheating those tires, and trying to push, overheating those tires, and not being able to control the car in all these tight sequences of turns, and that's exactly how it goes sometimes. Yeah, absolutely lovely track because of that, and some drivers just absolutely despise it as well. I'm all about the love.
Yeah, you gotta love this one after that drive. That was nice and smooth driving. That was sweet.
Absolutely.
So Berger, what's going on with Berger? He's back down. Oh no, he's still latched on to Hammer there and then following him through. So just about to come up to halfway, 2 minutes away. So let's see. That's when we tend to see Hammer drop it actually and start picking these guys off.
Another really interesting factor on this track, I actually, just real quick, I see, so Glenn Humberstone has crashed. Let's take a quickie look at how did he crash. Here we go, exiting the hairpin, and this is the point where I think most people have crashed right here. If you miss that apex, there you go, just like that. Luckily, his car is still intact. He's able to carry on. He's left a little bit of sand on that little side, but he is fine to carry on and continue his laps. But if you miss that apex, it's almost a guaranteed spin. So, I'm telling you from experience, you miss it, and it's tricky because you have to brake significantly earlier than you would ever think. You try and brake late, you're actually going to miss that apex and then almost guaranteed spin. And it's tricky because you want to brake late to avoid someone, especially when you're racing, avoid someone coming up your inside. So you brake as late as possible, but then you're going to spin. So it's a really like one of those catch-22. Do you brake late as possible to avoid the dive bomber? Or do you go early and make the turn? It's a lot of fun. I love that corner.
That's cool.
So real cool fact about this track, to gain an advantage with your car control and so on, these curbs, if you keep your inside tires on that curb, you're going to see Philip the Hammer coming around this hairpin. The right side of his car is on the curb on exit there, just barely. And what it does is it helps rotate the car on these slow speed corners right here. Right, see, there you go, using the curbs and the little bumps on the inside of the car. It rotates the car just perfect and allows you to get a better exit and have a faster lap time right there. See, right there as he hits the inside of the curb at just the right time. And now he's got an excellent exit as he's heading down the main straightaway. Amir Car's going to have to defend the inside, Philip Hammer on the outside. And here we go into the braking zone. The car's diving down and Philip Hammer not able to make that pass. And that was close. Philip Hammer getting an excellent run out of turn 2. Is he going to be able to get some overlap as he heads down the hill? Amir Carr going to have to defend the inside. Maybe is Philip Hammer going to get aggressive? He is not able to get up alongside. And this real long sweeping downhill right turn, Amir Carr is still ahead.
I'm kind of fortunate to never have had a rear view mirror full of Philip Hammer because he is just relentless. You think you pull a gap on him, and the next thing you know, he comes out of the next corner, he's all over him. Oh, what a move down the inside.
And trying to put the power down. Philip Hammer has gone a little bit wild on his rear end there, and they have too wide into the hairpin as Philip Hammer trying the over-under, and here we go. Philip the Hammer getting a better exit. Oh, Amir Carr losing control, and there you go. Philip the Hammer is through. Amir Carr has crashed, and that is just the pressure of the hammer.
that is something beautiful and something disturbing in the same time. What a way to position himself, and poor Emil Carr just squirming the whole time trying to hang on. He put up a great fight for sure, but holy smokes.
And there you go. Philip the Hammer luckily has no steering damage, so he's free to carry on without much damage. And Amir Carr is now in 10th position. So it's just like you were saying, the a mirror full of the hammer is not a place you want to be.
Jeez, just I'd be traumatized for weeks after. I think after that, jeez. But I mean, I really like how Emil fought that out. He did the best he can, and always a kudos to guys driving over their head and obviously made himself crash. But deep down, I think Emil learned something there and hammers on to his next victim.
Definitely. And you gotta try your hardest and defend as hard as you can. And it was just absolute beautiful battling between the cars. I see a notification, Rob West has crashed, but I'm gonna take a look at that after we see what happens with Frank Smits and Bjorn Ritter. Philip Straffarelli is the third car in this group, and let's see how this shakes out. These two are closer than ever, and I'm gonna put my money on Bjorn Ritter wants on through Frank Smits. He's gonna be trying as much as he can. It looks like Frank Smits is he is trusting Bjorn Ritter to not dive up the inside. Bjorn Ritter definitely thinking about it. As they head into the final corner, you can see that little bit of a gap as he comes. There you go, right there. That is that gap that I was talking about earlier. But if you're not able to get up alongside in time, you're not close enough, then you don't make the pass, and you have a terrible, terrible exit down the straight, and then you're definitely not making it by turn one.
Nope. Yeah.
So you really have to be right on that rear bumper if you want to use that gap to your advantage. But let's take a quickie look. How did Rob West crash? Rob West having a clean race, staying basically on a nice island all on his own, gained lots of positions, and there you go. And that's exactly, you were asking me, is it easy to lock up on that braking zone?
Yeah.
You're going to lock up almost always as soon as you start turning in, just as you saw right there from Rob West.
Nice. Gotta have a nice soft touch on those brakes. This is shaping up to be a good battle. Straffarelli staying tight, but he's got a pissed off Emil car behind him charging hard. So see how he plays this. Who do we got here,
and there's
Mike?
Philip Hammer going up the inside on Benjamin, and Benjamin giving it up easy. So there is another position for Philip the Hammer. We got 19 minutes in. We have 11 more minutes of racing to go, which is going to end about 23 laps. This race will be about 23 laps approximately. So that means 8 more laps to go. Samuel K. Spruill, we haven't talked much about him. He's had a boring and exciting race all at the same time. Up in the P1, Ryan Winfeld is in second position. He has a 3-second gap now to Philip the Hammer. You can see him lurking in the background. Benjamin Pape just coming around turn 1, turn 2, and Misha Berger just staying nice and clean. He's exactly where he started, not gained, not lost any spots. And I'm gonna have to guess that Benjamin Pape is he is just wanting to stay exactly where he is and finish with some real good season points. Where is he in our standings, Adam? Do you know?
Yeah, stand by here. Benjamin's having a great drive too. I don't blame him for letting Phil get by there, because I don't know how anyone could put up with that. But yeah, Benjamin's in fourth. He's 216 points, well within reach of Spruill, who's in third. So behind him is Hugendorn in the points. So he's in a good spot. You're right, Mike. He needs to run this out, hold this position, and he'll minimize the damage depending on what happens to Spruill and gain on the rest of the boys.
And here we go. I'm actually seeing a notification for a little bit of battling between Lee Holmes and Rob West. After Rob West had lit up his tires, he now had Lee Holmes on the back of him. And here we go into the hairpin. Does it look like Rob West stays ahead? Oh, so there is the pass. Lee Holmes on Rob West into that hairpin. That over-under. That over-under has been successful all night. It's really put a lot of pressure on the drivers. That moment that you go on the inside, you think you got it, and all of a sudden the guy comes up the other side, and boom, there you go. So so many people have been saying it's a really tough track to pass on, and with all the passing that we've actually seen, I would say no. It's very easy to pass. You just have to understand your car, the car control, the track, and your opponent.
Yeah, just those few things, and it's super easy to pass. It does look tricky, but I'm the same way. I think you find a way through, and whether it takes a couple laps, even for Phil. I mean, he takes his time picking these guys off after some tormenting and dissecting, but he can really find those little spots to squeak through because there's a lot of corners on this track, and that's where it happens.
And it looks like Bjorn Ritter out of that hairpin a little bit slower than Philip Straffarelli. So Philip Straffarelli is now right on the bumper of Bjorn Ritter as we come into the hairpin. And is Philip going to be able to make a pass attempt? I don't think so. And I think with that line, Philip's not going to get the exit he wants onto that straight. And so Frank Smits is now got a little bit of breathing room that he's been wanting for this whole race. And from Bjorn Ritter. Bjorn Ritter is now hot on the tail. Still hot on the tail of Bjorn Ritter, but Frank. I'm mixing up my names. Imagine that. So Frank, let me start that one again. Frank Smith's in the lead of this group with a little bit of breathing room from Bjorn Ritter. Philip Straffarelli though is hot on the tail of Bjorn Ritter. There we go.
Yeah, nailed it, buddy. And they dropped Milcar a little bit there, so still, I'm really impressed with Straffarelli's drive the last round. Silverstone, he almost had a top 5, stayed within the top 10, I believe, and a good spot here. But I don't know if you're looking at those numbers. Hammer's eating away at Winfield way quicker than I thought. He had about 3, almost 4 seconds not too long ago, and he's drifted right back up to him. So Spruill, Winfield, don't back down now. Keep that pedal down.
I gotta say, this is super fascinating to watch this little battle in the micro battles between Frank Smits and Bjorn Ritter. Oh, and Philip the Hammer. Here we go. Philip the Hammer is through, so I just want to take a quick look, actually, at exactly how did he make that pass. And that is that. There you go. That's exactly what I was saying earlier. Is when that car goes out wide to get that better run, you poke your nose if you're close enough, and there it is.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make a quick mention here of this battle right here in the micro battles here. Frank Smits, it looks like between Frank Smits and Bjorn Ritter is much, much faster through turn 3, 4, 5, 6, and the S's. And Frank Smits so here you go. You'll see Bjorn Ritter is going to catch up to him as they go through the S's and this downhill. And Frank Smits is just not as quick here. So that's really fascinating to watch. Right there, you see the gaps really closing down. But as soon as we get to the hairpin, Frank Smits is just a little bit quicker. See, there you go. Bjorn Ritter's real close right now. And then at this part of the track, Frank Smits just lays the power down, gets further away, and Philip Straffarelli is now possibly thinking about making a pass on Bjorn Ritter. And there you go. So this is where you have to learn your opponent and where they're weak and where they're strong. And so Bjorn Ritter right now sitting behind Frank Smits, watching him pull away on this part of the track, and then he'll see the gap close down as they head through the S's. And here we go. It looks like Bjorn Ritter getting an excellent hairpin final corner, but not able to get up alongside. And so that's the battle and the micro battles going on between all the drivers on this track. And so, yeah.
Yeah, these guys have been kind of yo-yoing back and forth there. Rich, he really needs to make a move here because I think Emil could have the speed and the pace to get through. Straffarelli, I don't know, he could flip a switch and build up some confidence there and make some moves. So, yeah, this is a great battle. They've been going at it for a while.
There was Alexander Redhead going on the inside of Thomas Podbrocki through the final turn. It looked like Alexander Redhead taking the nice tight line and Podbrocki just missing his braking point, going very wide. And here we go, too wide into the turn 1. And it looks like, they're still too wide. Exiting through turn 2, Alexander Redhead having a longer distance to travel is not going to stay ahead. And there goes Thomas Podbrocki. He is up into 14th. That is exactly where he started. And that is a good result to have, finishing where you start. He still, of course, has 4 minutes to go, so the race isn't over quite yet, but it's always nice to have a battle partner in Alexander Redhead.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it seems like good battles all throughout the field there, except for Randy's dropped off there a little bit. Probably had some bad luck off the tracks. But Podbrocki's, he's got big gap to Wilfert, and then Holmes big gap to Carr to get in that top 10. Is kind of settling down the last 3-4 minutes here.
So Misha Berger has caught up to the back of Benjamin Pape, and he is 2 to 3 tenths away. So this may be a passing opportunity any moment now. We're going to have to see if Misha Berger can open up that can of worms or not. A little bit further back, it looks like Bjorn Ritter is closer than ever to Frank Smits. Is he going to get him this time through the S's? He now has a lot of competition behind him who also want through. Amir Carr is caught up to the back of these cars, this pack. So this is really our tightest battle on track right now. Bjorn Ritter going a little bit wide, trying to get an exit out of this tight hairpin. That elevation change, that drop in elevation does not serve the car well. It's difficult to get that power down without losing that rear end, and there you go, and that's created that little bit of gap between them now, and we're going to see Bjorn Ritter, I'm very certain of it, change that gap into 2 tenths. He's going to pull that gap in, reel him in, as we head through turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, 4, and so on.
Yep, rounded down the last few laps here too, so now you'll be able to see who's going to throw caution to win and to the wind and go for it, or who's just going to kind of back off, settle in, and be happy with where they're at.
I want to actually take a look at, here is Samuel K. Spruill. He's been leading this race since the very beginning. He has Philip the Hammer directly behind him. You can actually see him in the camera view there. He is 1.4 seconds. He's closed a gap of 3.5 seconds in just a matter of a few laps. So Philip the Hammer is now 1.1 seconds from the leader of this race. And there you go. Thank you for yielding. What's your favorite saying? Blue flag?
Yeah, there's a race going on. You're not in it. Out of the way. And that guy was a gentleman, got out of the way. So kudos to him.
Thank you for the absolute wonderful race that's now about to take place between Samuel K. Spruill and Philip the Hammer. Philip the Hammer, wow, gaining this much time this quickly. Let's see the lap times between them as they cross the start-finish line. This may be the... we're going to have 2 more laps. I think we're going to have 2 more laps. Unless this... There you go, 121.4 and a 120.7. So that is a 7 to 8 tenths pace difference. So
I love it. I love watching Sam race. I love watching Phil, and Phil's gonna let his hair down, and hopefully Sam can put up a fight and hang on here. This is gonna be right down to the wire.
Absolutely, and I'm really curious if this is going to be our last lap or if there's going to be one more lap to go after this. It's, you know what, it's anybody's guess. That timer is going to tell the story, so we're going to have to watch the timer as it goes, and so it's going to be interesting to see if Philip Hammer tries to make the move on this lap or if he knows that there's going to be one more lap to go or not. So here we go. Philip the Hammer is now 2 tenths behind as we head down the hill into the braking zone. Samuel Spruill's throwing that defensive line. Here's the over-under. Are we going to see it? Samuel Spruill exiting nice and tight, so no over-under from Philip the Hammer. Is he going to... Oh, and here is the defensive line, and that is... Oh, and Samuel K. Spruill is able to stay ahead. Oh, here we go. Heading into the hairpin, longer distance to travel. Philip the Hammer's not going to be able to get around. This corner is too long to go around the outside, and Samuel K. Spruill is now still in the lead of this race. Congratulations, Samuel K. Spruill, for winning this race against Philip the Hammer. Wow.
Nice race, Sam and Phil, too, getting through the field. Awesome. Winfield on a podium tour, top place in American. Pappy, Berger, Cypher, they're all still going at it. Wow, what a race.
And it looks like Philip Straffarelli may have had to serve a slowdown, same as Amir Carr, and that put them 2-3 seconds back. And here is Lee Holmes, and this is approximately, I gotta say, what happened on our Thursday race. Is about half of our field finished on the lead lap, just out of pure difficulty of this car on this track. So we're seeing similar results in this race here, and it's just everyone who can finish on the lead lap. You know what? You all deserve a pat on the back. Congratulations for finishing on this lead lap. It is not an easy task. It's not an easy track, and so yeah.
Yeah, I thought everyone drove real well this round. It looks tight, tough corners, easy to lose your braking points. Got through those first starts really well for the Euro Division, so that was a good race.
So now that everyone has finished, let's pull up those finish results, and we'll see it for. Let's see, it looks like, yeah, Samuel K. Sproul, confirmed winner of our feature race. Started in first, had an excellent pace, taking advantage of that reverse grid top 8 to finish the race in first. So congratulations, Samuel K. Sproul. That's going to put some good points in his back pocket for our season standings. Philip the Hammer in second position, almost snagging first place. He's going to be our race points winner with 59 points from this race. Ryan Winfeld in third position, 6.8 seconds really behind the leader, having a real great race, avoiding as many slowdowns as possible. Benjamin Pape in fourth, Misha Berger in fifth, Thorsten Seifert in sixth, Frank Smith in seventh, Bjorn Ritter, Philip Straffarelli, Lee Holmes, Rob West, Alexander Wilford. Even after the spin, I think that was the feature that Wilford spun, no?
Geez, I think, well, judging by the time, I think he might have done both.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Rob West, I know, had a spin, but still finished in a very strong 11th. Lee Holmes hit the wall and carried on, still finished only 24 seconds back. So that is a really great. Sproul started 18th in the heat, is what I'm seeing. From Corey Lazarus. So starting 18th in the heat and bringing himself all the way up to 8th to take advantage of that reverse grid and finishing first for the feature, that is an absolute amazing drive from Samuel K. Sproul. So shout out to Corey for giving us that little piece of information, and just shout out to Samuel for taking advantage of the candy he was given. Now, continuing on down that list, though, we got Amir Carr, who had that, he's having a real great run through that feature race, and just suffered a little bit of rear tire burnout coming out of that hairpin after all that pressure from Philip the Hammer. Great job holding him off for that long. And, it's just sad to see that happen to a driver such as Amir Carr. Yeah, he ended up in 14th.
Ouch.
So definitely ouch. He is one very strong driver. I'm excited to see how he does next week and all the weeks going forward. I think Amir Carr is one strong competitor. He is definitely going to be one to watch going forward. Then we've got Alexander Redhead, Randy Aret, Glenn Humberstone, Ben G. Pedersen. Ben is, I don't know, he's just off to the races in the pits. Danny Hugendorn, after hitting the wall, gave up. May not like this track combo. Craig Schill, Alistair Hatcher, Yuri Steinmetz was definitely out there struggling on the struggle bus for this track. Mark Oliver and Emil Koopmans, who had a real bad start off the race start, decided not to finish the race. Emil Koopmans just not having much luck with the new tire model.
Koopmans and Hugendorn, yeah, I've seen them make some mistakes and back out there. But hey, lads, you guys got speed. Get back out there and pick off some guys.
I definitely agree with you. Danny and Emil both have strong pace. They have great racecraft. I'd love to see these two back up to the very front of the field. I'm sad to see them not having good starts or just having some bad luck. They definitely deserve to be up at the front, battling with the Hammer, with Samuel and Brian and Misha and Thorsten and Frank Smith and all of them up there. So I'd really love to see. I'd love to see these guys right back at the front where they belong. That, of course, is the end of our feature race. That is the end of our race. What are your thoughts, closing thoughts for you, Adam?
Man, I was Thursday was a great one. This one was just delivered as well as some excitement there. Really good, like you call them, micro battles there, all through the field. Guys going on, not giving up, not giving each other any space, and trying to make their best finish. So pumped on Sproul holding off. That's wild. It was great to see Hammer chipping his way through. That's always fun to watch. And kudos to these fast guys who know they're going to be coming in the back of the pack, yet they always line up. They test themselves and pick these guys up. It's quite easily for them to jump in somewhere else and just start at the pole and run away. Kudos to Philip Hammer and our very own Ryan Winfield out of Minnesota. Top place in American was great to see, and I'm pretty proud of Straffarelli's drive again. Silverstone was good, and Rug Scogan here. another great finish. So I'll have eyes on that top placing Canadian as well, moving to the next few rounds. So kudos to everyone that made it through this one. Looks like a tough track. Glad I missed it.
Definitely, definitely. I think. Hey, there's Ryan Winfeld in the booth right now.
Oh,
Hey
hey, right.
guys,
Hey, how's it
that
going? How you feeling?
that was a wild one, man.
I know
Podium,
that.
baby. Nice job.
I
I
know that before the race, you were complaining about this track and not really liking it. What do you think now?
I mean it's fun. I just the first laps I turned on this track were on Thursday, so I just it's a lot to get up to speed on, quite literally, and yeah, just it's a wild ride. It's a fun track. There is not a single resting area. That is for
That's what it
sure.
looked like. Yeah, yeah.
It's
It seemed like you were, giving Sproul a run there till about halfway. Maybe I'm not looking at the numbers right, but it seemed
no,
like you were on pace then.
I was just pushing a little too much. I think I ended up cooking the tires off a little bit. Just that all those long corners are just so easy to just uh,
Burn them up.
steer your way through and just cook the fronts into oblivion. So I I had it. I start to feel the car slip a little bit, and then I figured I might as well just back off just a little bit, conserve, and try to make what I could. I knew Hammer was going to catch up. I was just hoping that that some of the guys behind could hold him up just a little bit, but wasn't quite enough.
No such luck.
I figured honestly, I know Sproul. He's a pretty cool customer. I figured if I didn't get him right off the start, there was going to be nothing doing. He's not an easy one to force a mistake out of, and he's got plenty of pace. So yeah, that was my only hope, was to get him on the start, and didn't quite happen. And yeah, I mean, what a charge from Philip. I mean, he was catching me a second per lap. You know, again, was already trying to conserve a little bit at that point, so I just figured I'd, not delay the inevitable and see if I could even follow. And obviously, that didn't even happen. But hey, I'll take a podium any day of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good drive, Ryan. It was good to watch. Good to see you up there. And don't worry, Emil Carr made Philip Hammer's life a living hell there. He put one hell of a fight. Even took himself out in the effort trying to hold back Philip Hammer. But
I couldn't see, but it looked like Benjamin DePop or DePape had a pretty solid fight too. He was back there for a while at least.
yeah,
Definitely.
I think so,
And I
too.
gotta ask you, actually, now that you've driven the track and raced it, all the people who have said, "Oh, you can't really pass on this track; it's just driving a train and no passing." What do you think to that?
There are definitely passing zones. There are like half a dozen different lines through the last corner, and you can use one or another or whatever to try to get a run down the front straight. And that I can't remember the corner name or the corner number, but the second to the last left-hander, the one where everyone slides out on, is pretty solid. If you can get a good run on the right hand, and you can get up alongside, make a move under braking. There's spots. I mean, when you get up to the higher speeds, or higher I ratings or whatever, it's tough to pass anywhere, because if everyone's running the same line at the same pace, there's very few spots where you can pull off the ideal line, make up speed, and get alongside somebody. So it's like anywhere. I mean, the best place or time to pass is, if the car in front of you tries to make a move, it gets offline. Usually you can make that happen. But yeah, I disagree. I think there are as many passing opportunities here as most tracks. It's
Definitely.
tracks like Road America, obviously, we're going to be at in a couple of weeks. We'll probably see more passing, but there you've got several very long straights into very hard braking zones that just invite passing. But yeah, I don't perceive this track to be much more difficult than most to pass at, and I think it's
Definitely.
a lot of fun.
Definitely. I think we're going to have to wrap this up. And before I do, I'm going to ask you if there's any drivers you'd like to give a shout out to out on track.
Sproul, 100%. That is a tall order. I mean, even starting from pole, that's still 30 minutes of basically no mistakes allowed to hold on, and held off the hammer at the end. And yeah, that's a heck of a drive. And then obviously Hammer's George from 8th at this track, goes without saying. So those would be my two.
Definitely. Thank you for coming in for the interview here. Always enjoy having you in here. And if anyone listening, if you're still listening, still watching, come on in after a race. Anyone and everyone is welcome. You don't have to finish in the very front of the pack. Even if you crash out, you know what? You've got a better story to tell. Congratulations, Ryan, for finishing in third in that race. And I guess we'll see everyone next week. See you. What's next week? Road America?
Detroit.
No,
Detroit. Oh, that's going to be real interesting. But yeah, I'll see you guys all next week. And
Alright,
thank
thank
you
you.
for watching.